Leader of the National Party.
Rise today to support this motion and speak on behalf of the Nationals. Clearly, we were pleased to be invited today to the steps of Parliament to address the men and women in blue that turned out to point out the complete unfair way that they are being treated by this state government, the broken promises and the real impact that it's going to have on these people that put their life on the line to keep our communities safe. And we do stand in solidarity with their requests to be treated fairly because, as I pointed out at the rally, we think that what is taking place at the moment is going to make it incredibly difficult, not only on an individual basis, but for the government to attract and retain those police officers into the communities that we represent in regional Western Australia. It is difficult enough to do that already, although we had significant programs in place while we were in government to assist the police to do that. By making it more unattractive, by punishing them, by walking away from a commitment, it will make it more and more difficult for us to maintain those people in our communities. And quite often, they are the only essential service that some of our communities have. They are the only government representative in state government representative agency in these communities. They are a vital part of our regional communities. Now, I do wish to take up some of the comments that the Premier was making during question time in relation to my reflection on what this wages policy will deliver for the government. And everyone out there understood very clearly what we were saying, that we are facing a $42 billion debt and a $520 million solution by taking away from those that can least afford it is not the way to go about it. And the real question needs to be asked as to why the Treasurer, the Premier, the ministers sitting in this government are not going down every avenue to make sure that we don't have to have these types of confrontations and conversations with those that serve our communities. And we don't think that this government is doing its job in that respect. And the question was asked, they're either scared or they're captured by the big end of town because they are not willing to break the promise that they made to the Rio Tintos and the BHPs and the Chambers of Minerals and Energy, but very, very happy to walk away from those that serve our communities, those that wear the blue uniform, that put their lives in danger on our behalf. And so the question does need to be asked, Mr Speaker. What is it that's preventing them from doing everything, from having to break that promise to a group of individuals and people that serve our communities? So we do think there is a solution. I have and support the anger that was palpable out there on the steps of Parliament House. They are angry. They are angry and they are right to be angry because this government is not doing everything it can to make sure that that debt is reduced in a way that doesn't impact on families, households, police, public servants, and there will only be more pain because they came to government with their fingers crossed, saying, we'll figure it out, we've got no plan. The Liberal Party and the National Party had a plan to reduce that debt. It would never have got to $42 billion in the out years. The Labor government does not and did not. They understood the situation and the finances of this state, and they are now breaking promises so they can actually deliver their election commitments. It's irresponsible. It's irresponsible when you're talking about people that serve our community. And so we do ask the Labor Party to sit down and have the hard conversation. Stop throwing back in our face that we want to rip up state agreements. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that you need to have the conversation. You need to sit down and start negotiating because there are avenues on the table that will allow you to significantly improve your bottom line, significantly improve the finances of the state. And doing it by cutting, saving, is not the answer. It's not the answer, and the people of Western Australia are going to be becoming more and more wise to this as your state budget is handed down and more decisions like the increases to electricity and power prices become evident. That is what the people of Western Australia are going to see. This negotiation with the police is only the start. And so in addition to the fact that they've been promised something that they will now not receive, their households will be impacted by increased fees and charges because this government is going to every corner of households that cannot afford it to pay for their promises that they made during the election, knowing full well what the situation was and the state of the finances. It's an absolutely outrageous situation to find ourselves in. The Nationals support the WA Police Union in their negotiations. It is wrong to walk away from a promise that you made, especially when you won't walk away from promises made to the big end of town that could very well afford to sit down and negotiate with you on outdated state agreements and deliver an improvement to your bottom line. It's an absolute shame, and you should be ashamed when you have to front things like we did today and look at those people that put their lives on the line for us. I hope you feel ashamed. I hope you feel ashamed. It's an absolute outrage.
Members, the question is the motion be agreed.